So today we are going to discuss about op-amp integrator. So today's discussion is about integrator. Okay, integrators using op-amps. So integrator is a kind of low pass filter. Okay, we got to remember this. So I'll tell you what is low pass filter when we are going to discuss about filters in the future topics. So the circuit for op-amp integrator is looks something like this. Okay, so it's an op-amp, and this is inverting and this is non-inverting, and we have to connect this inverting terminal and the output with a feedback resistor. Instead of feedback resistor, we have to use a feedback capacitor. Okay, capacitor of reactance Xc. Okay, and as usual, the input is fed through a resistor, input resistor Ri, and here the signals are AC. Okay, so the signal, one end of the signal is fed into this resistor and another thing is grounded. Okay, so usually a signal source has two terminals. Okay, a signal source has two terminals. Okay, two terminals, and in one terminal it gives the signal. Okay, and this signal is with respect to ground. Okay, therefore one of this signal terminal is fed into this internal resistor, input resistor Ri, and another terminal is grounded. Okay, so we can expect the output here. Okay, so this is where we get the output. Okay, with respect to ground, as we did earlier for inverting op-amp. Okay, and this thing is grounded, so the non-inverting terminal is grounded. So this is essentially a non-inverting op-amp with a, instead of a feedback resistor, we have a feedback capacitor. Okay, so next our aim is to find this output voltage. Okay, for that we have to use the earlier method as we use for the inverting amplifier. Okay, so in that we argue that the current, input current, okay, is equal to the feedback current. Okay, since this is a virtual ground and this input impedance of the inputs are very high, so this current cannot go this way. Therefore the input current I should be equal to the feedback current IF. Okay, so this feedback current, therefore the input current equal to feedback current. Okay, we know that input current is equal to, so this is Ri, and if we give Vi as input, then the input current will be Vi by Ri. Okay, by Ohm's law. Okay, and for the output current we have to use the capacitor relation. Okay, we have to get it through the capacitor relation. So for any capacitor, the capacitance of the capacitor is given by capacitance of a capacitor, C equals to charge accumulated divided by the voltage potential difference across the plates. Okay, so this is the charge accumulated and this is the potential difference across the plate. Okay, so from this we can find the charge is equal to, by rearranging, we know that C into V. Okay, so the rate of charge, the rate at which the capacitor acquires the charge, okay, dq by dt is equal to, since the capacitance is constant, it depends on the rate of change of voltage. Okay, Vc, okay, divided by dt. Okay, so this dq by dt, the charge per unit time is nothing but the current, okay, capacitor current IC, or the feedback current, okay. Therefore our IC or IF equal to C times dV by dt, okay. Since by using relation 1, using this relation 2, substituting 2 in 1, we have what we have, that this Vi by Ri equals to C times dV by dt, okay. This d out, this is the output voltage here, okay. So this is the voltage across the capacitor, which is what we measure as the output voltage, okay. So if we rearrange this, we will have so also this is an inverting op amp, so the output voltage is the negative of the it is inverted, okay. So therefore we have a negative. Therefore if we rearrange with the V naught on the left hand side, we will have 1 by RC minus 1 by RC Vi into dt, right. So if we integrate, in order to get V naught, we have to integrate. Therefore V naught equal to, since this is a constant, we can take it out, and we have integral Vi by dt, okay. Therefore this is, for this reason it is called as an integrator, okay. The output voltage is the integral of the input voltage. So if we look at this thing in the graph, we will be having, so this is our input, is a time varying signal. So if we input a constant voltage, okay, this is time versus voltage V in, so this is the input, so this is input signal. So we will be getting the output as something like, so it's an constant and it's in a negative part, okay. Therefore it looks something like this. So this is time and this is voltage, okay. So this is V out, this is V in, okay. This is V out, looks something like this, because it's negative, and since Vi is it's the dt is for first order, so we will get if we integrate, we will get t, therefore it is V times t, okay. So since V is constant, so the slope is like a straight line, okay. It's a straight line slope which increases with t, okay. And by the character of op amp, after certain voltage, when the output voltage is of the order of the biasing voltage plus VCC and minus VCC. So if the output voltage is of the order of the biasing voltage, the op amp attains saturation, okay. So when it when the output voltage reaches VCC, it attains saturation and it remains constant, okay. This is how the output looks, okay. This is the output graph. So if we look at this circuit, there is a problem with this circuit, okay. It's not my mistake, but if we use this circuit, there is a problem, and we have to slightly modify this circuit in order to get accurate result, Okay, so we shall see what's the problem here. Okay, let me redraw the circuit again here. So this is the circuit. So this is the inverting and non-inverting. The non-inverting terminal is grounded. Okay, it's grounded, and the inverting terminal is fed with the feedback resistor. Okay, sorry, feedback capacitor. Of reactance Xc. Okay, and here is our input resistance Ri, and here we give the input signal Vi, okay, with respect to ground. Okay, so what's the problem here? The problem is with this Xc. Okay, so in order to see what's the problem, we have to recall what we have. If what's the open loop gain of what will happen if there is no feedback. Okay, so for an inverting amplifier, with no feedback, okay, so if we give the input directly into the op-amp without any feedback, then this configuration is called the open loop configuration. Okay, so this is the open loop configuration. Open loop configuration. Okay, so what happened in this configuration? So since open loop gain, okay, open loop gain of an op-amp is very high, usually for an ideal op-amp it's an infinity. Okay, but for realistic op-amp it is of order of 10 power 6. Okay, so what does this mean? So any change in the input will be magnified at this order. Okay, so the if there is an change of if this is ground, okay, and if this terminal has 1 volt, then the output will be 10 power 6 volt. Okay, so this is not possible. Such amplification is not possible. Instead, what the op-amp does is it will go to the saturation point. Okay, it will saturate at the biasing voltage. So the output will be plus VCC or minus VCC. Okay, depending on the signal. Okay, so if it is an positive signal, then we will have a negative saturation, and if it is a negative signal, we will have a positive saturation. So there is no so in this case also, okay, if you closely look where the relation for Xc, so okay, so Xc is given by 1 by 2 pi Fc. Okay, where F is the frequency of this source. Okay, the reactance depends on the frequency of the input. Okay, and C is the capacitance. Okay, so if F is very low, or for DC source, okay, is 0 hertz, or DC, okay, DC case it's a constant case, then F is 0. Okay, in that case Xc equals to infinity, right? So this, if you put 0 here, Xc becomes infinity. So what infinity means? It's an open circuit. Okay, there is no feedback, and this is more or less equal to this circuit. In that case, the input is directly fed like this way. Therefore, the op-amp doesn't do any integration or any operational process. Instead, it saturates to plus or minus VCC. Okay, so in order to avoid this DC gain, infinite gain, we have to add an resistor here. Okay, resistor in parallel to the capacitor. Okay, a feedback resistor. Okay, So what does this feedback resistor does? So even though if Xc is 0, this feedback resistor gives a negative feedback, okay, and the gain is the as usual for the non-inverting case, it is the gain is not infinity, okay, the gain is minus R, sorry, it's just Rf by Ri, okay. So this is the gain if we add an resistor parallel to this capacitor, okay. So in order to get a practical integrator, the circuit should be modified as this, okay. Okay, let me consolidate everything here again, okay. So without RF, okay, without RF at low frequency or f equal to 0, our gain of the circuit is open loop gain, okay, without RF, okay, without RF, then it is the open loop gain, okay. So with the feedback resistor with RF at low frequencies, our open loop gain, sorry, the gain of our op amp, okay, integrator, okay, this integrated circuit is Rf by Ri, okay. In that way we restrict the infinite DC gain, okay. If we fed an infinite sorry, if we fed a DC source, it the gain won't be the open loop gain, instead it is low and it is fixed as Rf by Ri, okay. So I have added those points here in the notes, okay. So next we see what's the frequency response with and without RF, okay. So first let's see without RF, okay, without RF, okay. So the frequency response, okay. Frequency response is a plot drawn between the gain of the op amp and the frequency of the input signal, okay. So frequency response, so frequency response is nothing but a plot between gain versus frequency, okay, frequency of input, okay. So without RF, let's see what's the gain will be, okay. So at DC at 0 frequency or at DC, the gain of the op amp, as I said earlier, is of the order of 10 power 6, okay, 10 power 6, okay. And this is because Xc equal to 1 by 2 pi Fc, okay, and since F is 0 for DC case, Xc which results in, for DC case, which implies Xc tends to infinity, therefore it's an open loop configuration. Since the gain of the open loop configuration is of the order of 10 power 6, so therefore at the DC frequency the gain is 10 power 6, okay. As the frequency increases, Xc starts to decrease, okay, Xc starts to decrease and the feedback loop is established, okay. So if you look at the circuit, and if the input frequencies increase, this capacitor starts to show some reactance, okay. As a result, no more an open circuit, we can establish an negative feedback. As a result, the gain starts to decline, okay, the gain starts to decline slowly at a constant rate, okay, not this way like a straight line, okay. Let me draw it with a line, So from there it starts to decline slowly. At a constant rate. Okay. So our op amp works worst. Sorry, our integrator works worst without RF when the input frequency is low or DC at the DC level. Okay, but if our input frequency is somewhere here, okay, suppose our input frequency is somewhere here, our input source frequency VA is somewhere here, then the op amp gain is not a very large value, then it will work properly. Okay, so what's the response with the feedback resistor? Let's examine what's the response of the integrator with the feedback resistor. So with the feedback resistor, let me draw the diagram again, the frequency response. So this is for the case with the RF, okay, with the feedback resistor. So with the feedback resistor, this is the frequency and this is our gain, okay, EAV, okay, the integrated frequency gain. So with the RF, we know that for f equal to 0, xc equal to infinity, but so which implies it's an open circuit, but we have an RF there. Okay, so therefore the gain will be RF by RI, right? Therefore, so the op amp have a gain of, here the gain is RF by RI. Okay, and this gain remains constant for some frequency. Okay, it remains constant for some frequency, and after that it starts to decline because this XC starts to reduce and the resistance starts to the parallel resistance starts to increase. Okay, sorry, the XC starts to become low, and as a result the resistance falls down and the gain also falls down. Okay, so when so if you look with the RF, the total resistance of the feedback network is something like this. Okay, here we have a capacitor, okay, and in parallel we have a resistor. Okay, therefore we have a parallel circuit, resistor capacitor parallel circuit. So this is what is fed to the feedback loop. Okay, when this circuit is open, the resistance is equal to RF. Okay, and there is a particular frequency, okay, F. Okay, there is a particular frequency F at which we know that X equal to 1 by 2 pi FC. Okay, so at a particular frequency called cutoff frequency, at that frequency this XC and this is a reactance, okay, and this feedback resistance are of equal value. Okay, when Xc equal to Rf, then the gain of the op amp is AV by root 2. Okay, the maximum gain divided by A max divided by root 2. Okay, so this is the maximum gain. So for this FC, the gain of the op amp is something called something here. Okay, somewhere here. Okay, and this is the, and this cutoff frequency is called the 3 dB frequency. At 3 dB level, this is equal to AV by root 2. The gain is AV by root 2. Okay, so at f equal to fc, our xc equals to 1 by 2 pi fcc. Okay, this is the feedback capacitor. Or okay, so what's the value of this fc? We know that at fc xc equal to rf, right? Therefore so in this we know that fc equal to 1 by 2 pi, I am taking this fc here and xc here. Okay, xc cf, right? At fc we know that x equal to rf, so we can replace this xc by rf. Okay, therefore we have 2 pi rf cf, right? So this is the cutoff frequency. And there is another frequency, it's called f0. Okay, f0. So at f0, at f equal to f0, the frequency f0 is given by 1 by 2 pi ri times cf. Okay, so this is the input resistance. So these are the two important formulas we should know in order to get a accurate integration. Okay, so in order to get an accurate integration, our input frequency, the frequency of the input, should be greater than fc and it should be less than f naught. Okay, so for proper integration, our input frequency, input frequency f should be greater than fc. It should be greater than fc, but it should be less than f naught. Okay, it should not exceed this range, or it should not be lower than this range. Okay, so this is the condition for proper integration. Okay, we can if our frequency is of say 1 kilohertz, okay, 1 kilohertz, we can make this fc such that it is less than our input frequency. Okay, how can we alter this? We can alter this by altering rf such that we can make the fc less than our input frequency. Okay, in that way we can design our integrator to work in the proper integration limit. Okay, so up to this, this is what you have to learn for the examination point of view. And if some of you are curious why this value is AV by root 2, I will put some derivations in the following slides, so that you can understand why at this point this AV is this point the amplification gain is AV by root 2. Okay, so that's what is follows, and it's not for the examination. Okay, it's for as a general information. Okay, so why? Okay, let me redraw the diagram here. So this is inverting. Good. So we have a capacitor, and also we have a resistor in parallel with this capacitor. Okay, and this is the input, and here we have an input resistor, and we have an input signal, and this non-inverting terminal is grounded. Okay, so this is an inverting op amp in the integration. Okay, so the capacitance is CF and the reactance is XC and this is RF. Okay, so if we look the total resistance of this part, okay, so the total resistance of this part, okay, is something like a capacitor, okay, and then resistor in parallel. Okay, so this is the total resistance. Well, this is XC and this is RF. Okay, so these two are in parallel. The total resistance of this circuit is this. If you take these two as parallel resistors, then the total resistance RT is given by the parallel resistance formula, right? So XC RF divided by, usually it is XC plus RF, right? But if we take the impedance, it's an impedance, right? It's not the resistance, it's an impedance. Okay, total impedance. Let me write it as impedance, total impedance. So whenever we derive for impedance, we take the root mean square sum. Therefore, it is X square plus RF square. Okay. Usually, if it is if we have a parallel resistor, if we have two parallel resistor, then the total if it is, this is R1 and R2, then the total resistance RT is given by R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Okay, it's a direct sum, whereas in the impedance case we will square and find the root. Okay, RMS sum. Okay, so this is the total impedance of the circuit. Okay, so at low frequency, let me use some other color. So at low frequency, if we look at the impedance, the total impedance, XC by RF divided by root of XC plus RF, XC square plus RF square. Okay, so at F equals to 0, XC, okay, tends, as F tends to 0, XC tends to infinity. Okay, so we have to find the limit. Okay, so we should not put the XC value as infinity, then the impedance becomes infinity. Okay, so it becomes indeterminate. Okay, so in order to, we have to find the limit. Okay, so IT in the limit XC tends to infinity, we can write XC RF divided by, we can take this XC outside. Okay, therefore if we take this XC square out of the root, we have XC root of 1 plus RF square divided by XC square, right? Okay, so this is in the limit. Okay, so this XC and this XC cancels out, so we have limit XC tends to infinity, IT equals to RF divided by root of 1 plus RF square divided by XC square. Okay, now let's substitute the limit, then we have IT, the total impedance. Okay, this is the total impedance. So this part is not for exam, I am just explaining why the gain of the op amp at 3 dB level is AV by root. Okay, so therefore the total impedance is, so if we substitute X equal to infinity here, this becomes 0, therefore we have RF divided by root of 1, which is nothing but RF. Okay, so this is the total impedance. Okay, at XC equals to infinity, when this circuit is open, then the total resistance is it's this value RF. Therefore our gain is the feedback resistance divided by the input resistance, right? Therefore it's feedback resistance divided by the input resistance. That's why for DC range our gain is RF by RI. Okay, let's see what happens when at critical frequency. Okay, at critical frequency or the cutoff frequency, we know that at cutoff frequency what we know, we have to prove that our AV is nothing but, so this is the maximum value. Okay, our AV is A max divided by root 2. Okay, we have to find this one. Okay, so this is because at f equal to fc, we know that xc equal to the feedback resistance. Okay, the resistance of the reactance and the feed and the resistance are of equal value. In that case, the total impedance. Okay, the total impedance. So what happened to the total impedance? It's nothing but xc. Instead of xc, we can put rf, right? So RF, instead of XC I am putting RF, and here we have RF again divided by root of RF square plus RF square, right? Therefore we have RF by root 2. Okay, so if you look at this one, so what's the gain now? It's RF by root 2 times Ri. Okay, and this is nothing but our A max, right? That's why at critical frequency the gain of the op amp is A max by root 2. Okay, so you must remember this while you are doing the practicals in the next semester. That's why I am deriving this relation. Okay, so this is not for exam, so this slide, okay, at to this point here it's for exam, and this is not for exam. Okay, not for exam, this thing. Okay, all the discussion below here. Okay, so let me stop here for the integration and for the integrator. Okay, and I'll add some more examples, numerical examples, so you can get better understanding about the integrator. Okay, so let's work out this numerical example. So this is an integrator. So the feedback capacitor is 10 nanofarad, and the feedback resistor is 100k, and the input resistance is 1k. Okay, so CF equal to 100 nanofarad. Okay, and our RF equals to 100 kilo ohms, and RI equals to 1 kilo ohm. Okay, so the question is, what's the maximum DC gain? Okay, the first question is, what's the DC gain of the integrator, okay, of this integrator? So our DC gain means it's the gain, okay, gain of the integrator at f equal to 0. Okay, we know that at f equal to 0, the gain of the op amp is RF times divided by Ri. Okay, therefore our DC gain is 100k, right? 100k into 10 power 3 divided by 1k, 1 into 10 power 3. Therefore the DC gain is of this integrator is 100. Okay, Therefore, for DC input, we will have a gain of 100. Okay. So if we have an 1 millivolt here, then we have 10 volts here. Okay, because it's 100 into 1 millivolt. Okay, this is V in, and V out will be AV times V in, right? Therefore, we will be having 100 times 1 millivolt, which is nothing but 10 volts, right? Okay, let it be. So the next thing is we have to find the low cutoff frequency. Okay, the low cutoff frequency. So what's this is one, number one. Two is what's the low cutoff frequency C of the integrator. So what's the formula for low cutoff frequency? F cutoff equals to 1 by 2 pi RF CF, right? Therefore, it is equals to 1 by 2 pi times, what is RF? RF is 100K, therefore 100 into 10 power 3, and CF is 1 nanofarad, right? It's 100 nanofarad, so it's 100 100K 10 nanofarad, sorry, it's 10 nanofarad. Therefore 10 into 10 power minus 9, right? Therefore it is 1 by 2 pi times, here we have 10 power 2, here it's 10 power 3, and here we have 10 power 3, so it totals to 10 power 6 into 10 power minus 9, which is equal to 1 by 2 pi times 10 power minus 3, or our low cutoff frequency is 1000 divided by 2 pi, okay, which is equals to, let me calculate, so it is 1570, okay, or hertz, okay, or 1.57 kilohertz, okay. So our input frequency should be higher than 1.6 kilohertz in order to get a better accuracy for the integrator. Okay, our input frequency should not be less than this 1.6. Okay, so what's the high cutoff frequency? So the formula for high cutoff frequency, next we have to find what's the high cutoff frequency. Third question is what's the high cutoff frequency. F0. Okay, what is the high cutoff frequency? So we know that for high cutoff frequency we have F0 divided by 2 pi Ri CF, right? Therefore it is 1 by 2 pi. So Ri, we have, what's the value of Ri? Ri is 1K. Okay, so it's 1 into 10 power 3 into CF is 10 nanofarad, right? So it's 10 into 10 power minus 9. Therefore we have, here we have 10 power 4, so it's 2 pi times 10 power 4 into 10 power minus 9. Okay, so it's 1 by 2 pi times 10 power minus 5, or 10 power 5 divided by 2 pi, which is equal to, it is 2 orders higher than this, therefore it is 157 kilohertz. Okay, 157 kilohertz. So the low high cutoff frequency is 157 kilohertz. Therefore our input frequency IF should be greater than our FC, should be greater than 1.57 kilohertz. Okay, and it should be less than 157 kilohertz. Okay, so if our input frequency is in between this range, then it will show a good accurate integration. Okay, so that's the fact we learn from this integration. Okay, let me do another problem. So the problem is, if we have an input voltage, the fourth problem. Okay, if V in, okay, the input voltage is, it's a sinusoidal of 2 pi, so the frequency, usually the input is sine omega t, right, and omega equal to 2 pi times f. Okay, and here the input frequency is 2 pi times, the frequency is 5 kilohertz. Okay, it's 5 kilohertz into t. Okay, time. So this is the input frequency. The circuit is same circuit. So whether this signal is properly integrated, so for that we have to check with the input frequency. So 5k, our input frequency is 5k, right? So whether it satisfies this, 5k is greater than 1.57 and it is less than 157 kilohertz. Okay, therefore this input signal is properly integrated. Okay, so if it is properly integrated, what will be its value? Okay, so what will be its output voltage? Therefore we know V out equal to minus 1 by RF CF times integral, sorry, this is not RF, this is RI. Okay, RI CF times integral V in is this one. Okay, sine of 2 pi into 5k, it's the frequency, into t dt, right? And for our circuit, Ri equals to, so for our circuit Ri equals to 1k and CF equals to 10 nanofarad. Okay, 10 nanofarad. Therefore our output voltage equal to minus 1. Okay, because of inverting terminal, this Rk is 1 into 10 power 3 into CF is 10 into 10 power minus 9. Okay, integral sine of 2 pi into 5k t dt, right? And it is so we have 10 power minus 5 and it goes to when it goes to the numerator, it is minus 10 power 5. Okay, so if we integrate sine, we will get minus cos, right? And so integral of sine at dt equal to minus cos at divided by a. Okay, so here a is nothing but this 2 pi into 5k, right? Therefore if we integrate, we will have integral of sine is minus cos times cos 2 pi into phi k into t divided by this a. Okay, instead of a we have 2 pi into phi into phi k. Okay, phi into 10 power 3. Therefore it's minus and minus is plus, and we have 10 power 5 here, 10 power 3 here, so this 2 goes and it becomes 2. Therefore 100 by 10 pi, right? 10 pi into cos 2 pi phi k t. Okay, so we can further reduce this and this becomes 10. Therefore we have 10 by pi cos 2 pi into phi k t. Okay, so this 10 divided by pi is 3.18. okay, so this is the amplitude and this is the signal. Okay, phi k into t. Okay, so this is our output. Therefore, so if we plot this one, time versus voltage, right? So our input is an so let me draw the input in the red color. So input is a sine wave of 5k, frequency of 5k, and its amplitude is, if you look at its amplitude is 1. Okay, so it's 1 volt. So if this is 1 volt, okay, let me draw it somewhere lower, this 1 volt. Okay, this is the 1 volt point. Then it's a sine wave, so it looks something like this, right? Okay, it should be symmetrical. Draw it again. Okay, it's a sine wave. Okay, so what's the output is, so let me draw the output in green color. So the output is a cos wave of amplitude 3.18. okay, somewhere here. So it's a cos wave. Okay, both of same frequency, therefore it should be like here. Okay, and it should go like here, like this. Okay, so it's a cos wave. So this is, so it's an integration of the input. Okay, so here we have 3.18, so output waveform. So this is the output and this is the input. So let me recap once again. So for examination point of view, you have to study, you have to know the derivation for the integrator. Okay, and you have to use the circuit, integrator circuit with the RF, right? Okay, if possible also learn why we are using RF. Okay, thirdly, we have to know what's the low cutoff frequency and high cutoff frequency. Okay, what's the low cutoff frequency? So what is low cutoff frequency? It is 1 by 2 pi RF CF. Okay, whereas the high cutoff frequency is 1 by 2 pi RICF, right? So from this derivation of the integrator, we know the output voltage is minus 1 by RICF times integral of V in dt, right? So these are the things you should take consideration for examination point of view. Okay, with this the topic of op-amp integrator is over. Next we can discuss about the differentiator, op-amp differentiator in the next video.